This episode is brought to you by the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge. We believe that when you purchase from a small online or offline business, your dollar goes further. Hey friends, Minna and I created the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge, and we're inviting you to take it with us. It's a commitment to make 1 in 5 of your purchases from a small business, online or offline. It's a way to make an impact together where and when it matters most. Because the truth is, your purchasing power matters now more than ever. Head to shop1in5.com to take the pledge. Make that commitment to shop 1 in 5 of your purchases towards a small business. We also invite you to shop the directory if you don't know where to find other small businesses. It's right there on the page. And we're asking for you to share the pledge. Imagine if each of us told 3 to 4 people about the Shop 1 in 5 pledge. It would be an incredible and life-changing for so many small businesses. Tell your friends, your family, and your social network. It costs nothing extra and makes a world of difference. Our purchases have the ability to change lives. Okay, let's jump in.
Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Minna Kunlo-Sitep, an Amazon guru that has built a multi-6-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey everybody, Jacqueline and Minna here, your co-hosts of the Product Boss Podcast. Today, we will be sharing a conversation we had with a fellow female founder. You see, we believe women helping women is what the world needs more of. Introducing our female founder episodes, where we interview fellow female entrepreneurs and highlight their small business.
Our goal is to shine a spotlight on product businesses to encourage our community to support each other, learn from each other, buy from each other, and lift each other up. So let's jump in.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Female Founders with the Product Boss. We are honored and delighted to have a very special person on today. We have Linda Leary. She is the founder of FisheWear. She is actually someone that both Minna and I have met in person. She was in one of our very original masterminds, and I've had the honor to work with her one-on-one for the last couple of years as one of my clients. So Linda, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Your business is incredible. It's called FisheWear, and it's actually apparel, accessories, and all the things that a female fisherwoman would need, right? Would you mind telling our listeners about FisheWear?
Yeah. So FisheWear started in 2015, and we've been creating clothing and apparel for gals to get out fishing, fly fishing, and or just fishing in general and kind of enjoying the outdoors. And we've found that the traditional fly fishing community is, solid colors. It's black, brown, greens, and we've spiced it up with some bright colors and patterns. It's all art-based products, female artists that we work with. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, and you're out of Alaska too, right?
Yep, based in Anchorage, Alaska, and then we have wholesalers we work with throughout the country as well as online. So it's been fun and some great collaborations.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's something we want to talk about a little bit here. So as when we started working together, you were really working on your art because Linda's FisheWear is really known for the art that they create, the colors. It's beautiful. If any of you have a chance to go take a look at it, it's amazing. But I think there's something really special about the fact that you've had this art and it's so specifically FisheWear, because that's going to lead into sort of what we wanted to talk about in this episode, which were these collaborations with much bigger brands, even before you had really hit the level that you're at now. With this art, I guess, tell us some of the collaborations that you've done with other big brands that have used the fishy art.
You bet. So some of the, when we first started out, we were working with a web designer and they're like, you really need to work on some collaborations, but it's going to take you a few years. So my background is sales and marketing for many years. So that's a challenge for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start writing down my wish list of ones. So some of the ones that we started out with were Orbis, reaching out to them. And actually they reached out to us because we met them at a trade show and they're just fabulous to work with. So we've been doing a couple collaborations with them, and we have a new one coming out actually this month with them. And then another one that we really wanted that's truly kind of a coastal thing, Alaska and East Coast as well, but it's extra tough boots. So it's rubber boots, shoes for fishing that have, they've really changed their look, and they're very bright and colorful. And then we have another one with groove rings, and groove is a silicone ring that puts our art on it. They're originally from Alaska. And then Cerebella rods. We've been working with another female fly rod maker in Colorado, April. So yeah,
I love that. So when you're doing your collaborations, you provide them with the design, right? It's kind of a collaboration of your design on their apparel or whatever ends up being.
Yep. Yes. So they license our art, and then we work with them to create products. And it's usually items that we're not necessarily going to make ourselves. So it's a great collaboration, and we're very fussy about, or I'm fussy about quality and wanting to make sure that it's represents our brand and that it's somebody that we really want to work with and that it's beneficial for them and for us. So
yeah, I love that. Am I correct in thinking that you actually had a collaboration with TaylorMade Cosmetics?
Yes. Yeah. And TaylorMade Cosmetics as well. Yeah. That was a brainstorm with Jacqueline during COVID. Like, okay, what can we do that's kind of fun for people on all these Zoom sessions during COVID? And so we did, we worked with them to make wonderful nail polish in colors that we named all fishing terms, which is super fun. So we involved a lot of our friends to come up with Trailwages, Ruby Grayling.
That was a struggle because when Linda and I were working together, she's in Alaska, so it was already sort of isolated from the pandemic, and it was this interesting time of what do we do? And I remember talking to you guys about doing masks, and they were like, "No, no masks."
Yeah, now we have a lot of masks.
We have a lot of masks. And so there was the apparel, and there was the idea of like, because most of this, a lot of what they sell is to get outside. Unfortunately, fishing didn't stop. I mean, Mina's married a fisherman, so fishing didn't stop, but it was that idea of what else can we sell them? So that was a collaboration between two product bosses of the nail polish and being, meeting a need. And then it was also great timing, I think, with some of the, Mother's Day and giftable type items. But going back to the collaborations, because I know, let's say you and TaylorMade, that was an introduction, but how did you, if people are out there thinking like, yes, I want to do a collaboration, and they're thinking, well, how would I even do that? What would you give as advice to people who want to make that connection and potentially collaborate?
Well, I think anytime that you collaborate, you go into that eyes wide open and knowing that, anytime that they could run with your ideas, they could do it themselves. When I first started, I talked to several other people that are in our industry, and they'd worked with other companies that, when the contract was done, the company went and took their ideas and ran with them, right? So, and then they kind of lost out. Well, luckily for me, that hasn't happened. And we've worked really hard to build relationships with our collaboration partners. So you build a level of trust with them, and it's not all one way. It's not all just for you, but it's also for them. So I think that it has to be reciprocal, whatever the relationship is, but you go in there knowing that things can change and it's not always forever. But I think if you do that, then that's, that really helps a lot. And plus, choosing high quality companies to collaborate with that are, have the same ethics and integrity that you do, that are, you treat them well, they're going to treat you well, and vice versa. But, things don't always go that way. So,
yeah, I agree though. It's definitely a relationship and something you're building over time. Are there any collaborations that you've had that you've done again? Right. Because there's always, it's like you're kind of testing it out and figuring out who you like to work with. I think that it really is sometimes just, sometimes people work with other people better than, other people, right? You get what I'm saying, right? Like, yeah. Are there, and then you get to decide, who do I plan to do another collaboration with, or would I ever do this again? Are there is there anybody that you've done more than one collaboration with?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we have 2 or 3 of them right now that are continuations. And, and part of that is brainstorming with them on what the next seasons look like and how you can be, but you have to keep creating new offers to them and new ideas on things to work on, right? So helping them.
I think Orvis and Extra Tough are really great examples. They are well-established brands. Orvis has a brick and mortar store on Fifth Avenue, for example.
Yeah.
So they do bags together. And so it's this pack that does really well. And it's a really great seller for them. And then they collaborated with Fishy to get their prints on it. So it's kind of taking a bestseller of theirs, plus a collaboration that's going to kind of update their brand without having to do it. And then also the same with Extra Tough boots, which I own a pair. I remember when he launched it, it was so cool because the capabilities of certain brands being able to make boots, it's a totally other world. And because FisheWear encompasses fisherwomen or, all across the board, like what do they need? Linda's resources, she would be limited in being able to make these kinds of bags or those kinds of boots or silicone rings. So I think that by doing this collaboration with them, they manufacture, right? They have it perfected. And then you get that extra say of saying like, look, it also validates you because your stuff is on Orvis and that's a huge brand, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then we work with their marketing teams for launches, doing giveaways with them. And so there's a lot of collaboration that goes on in various levels within the company as you build deeper relationships with them. So that it's, it's just good for everybody. So it's super fun.
Right. Because I think we all know, through 2020, there was manufacturing things that happened, struggles of sourcing all the different things. When you do a collaboration, it's like you get to work in your wheelhouse. And that's the best part of it, is that you get to kind of work in your own wheelhouse and kind of bring to the table of here's what I have and here's how we could do it. And then also you get to review it later on. So it's great because it's a win-win situation.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So it's been very good. And so then during COVID, I had a couple of swing for the fence ones that I was working on, and they haven't happened yet. But
not yet.
Did you reach out to them though?
Yes,
you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. One of them, but I haven't the other one yet. So
I think right now during COVID, especially, people are really open to possibilities of working with, the collaborations are happening more than they've ever happened before. So it's a great time to be reaching out to people, but keep making a note that Linda even has her own dream list of people. She didn't start with her dream list. So kind of, working the way up there.
Yeah.
So when you first made that connection with Orvis, for example, I think you said you did it in person. Was it at an in-person trade show?
Yeah, it was at a trade show. And what was funny is I think some of the folks that work there, their spouses and the gals that work there were buying some of our products. And so that was surrounding them. And, and we try to work on packaging and stuff that's kind of a surprise and delight for people too. So we would sent out packages and they had, Swedish fish in them or stickers and things like that. And, you may, it make them happy when they get their gifts. And so they're like, hey, we really like this. We love what you're doing. And they reached out to me. And ironically, it was the same week that I broke my arm and my elbow. And so I was on drugs and I had to tell them that I couldn't talk to them because the doctor told me I couldn't. I had to wait a week. So that killed me for like a week to not be able to talk to them, but I had to wait till everything was back to normal. So,
right.
At least you're vulnerable.
You were not of sound in mind or whatever sound mind or whatever that saying is,
Exactly. They said you cannot talk to them or do business. I'm like, my husband's like, oh yeah, no.
They'll have to hold. At least they respected that.
Yeah, they did. And they called back.
Yeah. And so that's something, we teach us in Multi-Stream Machine about big connections from in-person shows. So sometimes shows don't necessarily, whatever they are, markets, trade shows, whatever they are, sometimes they may not result in the sales that you want, but they do result in connections. And so funny enough, we all met at the Magic Show, right? At a trade show, which has impacted my life and impacted yours and all that. And then also the idea of Orvis. So I think I'd love for the listeners to think about putting themselves out there, right? Making that ask or that connection. And we also teach about, you could do this on social media, but where you kind of circle them. So you weren't maybe intentionally circling them. It's just that the women knew about your brand and that it kind of circled them anyway. So you ended up on their radar. And I think that's the idea, right? It's initially kind of ending up on their radar and then you can start that conversation and maybe take it to the ask.
Right. And it doesn't, like when I met you guys, I was just very curious about learning and I knew nothing. My background's trucking. What do I know about manufacturing and everything. I think I have a creative side, but not, and then I wanted to learn. So I sat in on one of your talks, and then, I'm not shy to ask. So I was like, hey, how can I be involved and learn more with you guys? So that was great. And it's been very, very helpful for us and for me personally and professionally. So big thank you to you guys for being there and helping so many people. Holy cow. Now
I know. It's so funny to think back. And then when I was pre-call, Jacqueline, I was talking to Linda because we were catching up because like Jacqueline said, and Linda said, they've been working together the last couple of years, but Linda was part of our first mastermind. And she was like, yeah, it was great during COVID. You guys showed up all the time and did these talks and it helped me get out of bed. I was like, I blacked that out. I don't even remember doing that.
I look forward. It kept us centered. I mean, because it seemed like a blur and you were just like grinding away during COVID in the beginning, right? Everybody trying to figure out. I'm watching John Legend doing his live concerts. I mean, just anything to kind of like have some normalcy in life.
Yeah, John Legend and his concerts, and then us saying, "Show up, guys! Go online and show your face."
Yeah, exactly.
And as you've grown your team too, I think, and just like super side note is that she also has her team members be a part of our challenges and continue to educate. So I love that too, because Linda has a big business and she has a bunch of team members, and that she continues their education as well. And like, because you want them to learn and kind of step into their role. So I love your focus on education and learning and kind of identifying what you know and don't know, because Linda knows a lot about a lot of things. And even like you said, like she's a consultant in the trucking industry. So, she's very specific there. Also, I guess, so what's next for Fishy? I know that we've been working together on you developing your own products, like really leaning into her leggings, which are her best sellers, which I think you've seen really help you in your business this year and last year. But what are you up to coming up in 2021 for FisheWear?
For 2021, we are continuing to grow our team. And I actually just brought in another gal today that's running the other side of our business, which is the travel and education side for teaching women how to fly fish. And so it's kind of the experience and education side. And then just continue to design new products. And we have a stretch goal of adding a larger retail partner this year, hopefully. And growing our sales team. We added a wholesale sales team right during the middle of COVID. So we've got those guys out there growing and just trying to keep growing that piece and being very focused on the products that we're selling. So.
And then in 2020, you did make a lot of changes, because I remember you had said were you primarily B2B and you switched to B2C, or how is that coming as far as like the percentage, the balancing out B2C versus
B2C was probably 90% or more, 95%. Okay. So we're continuing to grow that wholesale side of our business. And then we have a brick and mortar store that's our headquarters.
Uh-huh.
But what I will say though, is that here's the biggest change, and this happened for so many people. Linda was traveling everywhere to all of the fishing shows in all of the places. Yeah. And a lot of the sales happened in person. So they'd come to these fishing shows, she'd have product to sell, they'd buy. And I think that was one of the scariest things of 2020 going through it together was, well, what are we going to do? And so you got online and you've actually increased your sales, right? Like month over month, it's better than when you were flying around spending money on booths.
Right. And the profitability is better. Mm-hmm. Right. So I also have a contract CFO I work with and a part-time bookkeeper. And between them and Jacqueline, we really had to focus on numbers and metrics. So really working on setting some metrics for the year, our financial and social media metrics, and just the day-to-day business metrics. So I kind of like watching the numbers. It's fun. So COVID definitely made you watch your numbers. You get really good at QuickBooks and understanding how things are going. So.
Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah.
And so that's where the growth is happening, right? Because we've seen your growth go up, like the metrics, thank goodness, are in the right direction. That you've seen what they're buying, right? You've seen that that they're buying online instead of you having to travel and do these shows. And then now that we're leaning into B2B, so building out the sales team, that's a new arm. And so I think that's cool too, because we knew that, like you said, it was 99%. It was a little bit more than, you had a little bit of that, but that now you're growing that part of your business. So no matter what happens, you've got your eggs in more than one basket.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you have some diversity. And then market-wise, we're primarily domestic, but we'd love to do some international work in the next year. That's kind of our next little wish list on that.
And you're more profitable than you were before. But also, it's not by adding on more things, because it seems like your focus became the leggings and the collaborations and the online presence, right?
Yep.
So I love that.
And bags. People love
And
bags.
Yes, don't they? I know, even though they're at home right now, most,
But
aside from fishermen.
And these are $100 plus bags and leggings. So I also want everyone to realize that there's a, Lululemon where you're buying leggings for over $100. It's that same idea within FisheWear. And so just to think that it didn't take you selling more of, I don't like tack boxes and nippers and things like that. It wasn't the little things that she already sells. It was really looking at the best sellers, the bigger products, the things that have higher revenue, and you've really been able to add to your average cart value too.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's been incredible just watching you grow. And let me tell everyone, Linda has had challenges. Like, she's in Alaska, team members, like the people that she needs, if you're in Alaska, like FisheWear, she's got such growth happening. But then the resources are kind of limited sometimes, especially with personnel and team members. So she's got an awesome team now, but it's really been incredible to watch you pivot so quickly and then do so well and have a profitable 2020. And then, I'm excited for what's going to happen in 21.
Thank you. It helped to have a lot of years in the trucking industry. When you see the economy's going up and down, and you had 700 employees you're worried about every day, that you had to make sure they get paid and taken care of. So there's you learn to shift really fast.
So what's a piece of advice that you could offer other product bosses?
Just stay very focused. Like, I'm a big goal setter and strategic planner. So I like to make sure that I have my goals in front of me, the team shares in the goals, and that we're hitting them. And if you don't set them, you'll never achieve them. Right. So, and don't be afraid to stretch. That's probably the biggest things we have. And just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I love it.
It doesn't hurt.
Thank you. So Linda, tell our listeners how they can follow you, buy from you, and share your business.
Well, thank you. So our website is fishewear.com, FisheWear. And then we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we are also trying to start work on Pinterest a little bit. And so, and do some more videos this year. That's another big thing. So,
yes. All right. Thanks so much, Linda.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge. We believe that when you purchase from a small online or offline business, your dollar goes further. Hey friends, Minna and I created the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge, and we're inviting you to take the pledge with us. It's a commitment to make 1 in 5 of your purchases from a small business, online or offline. It's a way to make an impact together where and when it matters most. Because the truth is, your purchasing power matters now more than ever. We're inviting you to take the pledge if you head to shop1in5.com. The link is in the show notes. And when you get there, please make sure to share the pledge with your friends, your family, and your customers. Let's invite everyone to take the Shop 1 in 5 pledge so that we can all use our purchasing power to change lives.